Oh, what's up? I'm back. Sorry for the side, but I just take number 10. Y'all know I be complaining about this shit. But I want to talk about how the spirit is pretty much created different incarnations to different incarnations to create you, or has been attracting. Fuck, it gets confusing. But just talk about the parents real quick. Like, think about how crazy it was for your parents to come together. Like, from your mom might have been playing hard to get, or your dad might have been stubborn or a dumbass or whatever, but your mom still like. Maybe your parents were long distance relationship and it took forever for them to come back together. Maybe your dad went to war or some shit, and like just different shit. Like, so many, like, think about how crazy your path is. And like D Fran said, for example, uh if, like, say me and him broke out in high school or middle school, he wouldn't be able to have his kid in the sense of the incarnation of, like, he wouldn't have met his girlfriend through me. Maybe he would have met her in another way, and maybe it would have happened in another manifestation, because I mean maybe they were just attracted to have that kid regardless. But just the idea of, what if me and him did break up and he never ever met Carla and he never had that kid? Like, it'd be crazy. And say the same thing with us. Like, it's so many different, like, say your mom listen to, like, say your mom went on a blind date and she hated them. Like, just like the different things that, like, it's so many scenarios that could happen when it comes to relationship and people coming together. Like, even bad to good. Like, maybe you were conceived in church, maybe you were conceived in a bar, maybe you were conceived in a restroom, but whatever it was, you were meant to be here. And through that incarnation, like, it's funny as hell, because, like, dog, our parents are wild, we're wild, it is what it is. Like, I'm gonna talk about that in my next video, about how everything is pretty much about sex, and we shouldn't really look at, the fact that we demify it. I mean, some people straight instinctual and have sex in restrooms and shit like that. But look, we're wild, like I said, we wild people. No judgment here, because we gotta do the things we gotta do to create, better creations. And it's crazy because it's really me not looking at anything bad, because you gotta think about it. What's bad? Like, if they did have sex in a bathroom and they created you, bro, you're special. It just sounds crazy as fuck. And I'm laughing, but I'm being 100% real. Like, there's literally so many different things that took place to create us from. And then you got to multiply that by a million when you add your grandparents, and that by a trillion when you add your great-grandparents. And it just go to show you how special you are and what space you're really operating in. And I talk about the bubble. And pretty much, I don't know, I be making so many videos, but pretty much the bubble is whatever your spirit chose your parents, because they knew your parents was going to manifest this type of reality. Like, if your parents were stubborn and whatever, or your parents was an asshole or whatever, like, it's that whatever manifestations come of being an asshole or stubborn or loving or caring or whatever, the million different things that you can be in this world, it would have manifested on you. And same with the other parent. Whatever they combined manifestations would have created, would have manifest you. Either they was argumentative, either they were hella productive, if they were whatever, bro, if they was hella structured, if they were unbalanced, whatever is going to reflect on you. And those reflections of what you will have to ultimately learn from or use as tools to make you better. And honestly, because you could say some things like, if they're loving, you should use that as a tool, not necessarily, it's not a lesson you gotta learn from, but it would be a lesson if you become if you become over loving and you just love everybody, and then you'll get hurt and shit like that. So whatever it is, like, if your parents are over loving, over suffocating, you might become that, and then you get your heart broken too much because you don't know how to give people space. So it's like, we all have to learn from those lessons, even though if it's tools or whatever. Like, our spirit picked that bubble to learn from, and our spirit's been making so many co-assigning bubbles and dimensions and shit to create you and that perfection of you. And some of those incarnations, like I said, you could be an asshole that could be operating out of darkness, out of chaos. A warrior, like a blind warrior, be operating out of just chaos and darkness, because you just like what's some shit called, a merchant, or not a merchant, what's them dudes called when they up for hiring guns? Some with an M. Mercenaries. Like, you could be a blind mercenary and just working for money, killing for money, and out of that darkness, whatever you could create another warrior, but in the sense of it's doing it in a righteous path. And that's why I say, if your family's in the righteous path, it's going to be hard for you to understand, because you could have had people fucked up in your past life, but it was ultimately create you in a sense. And I guess that's why I say it's not really evil or bad, because some people are here to be on the opposite path of righteousness, to help oppress us, to help us get to our righteousness path, like our righteous path. Like, we need that. And like I said, a lot of it, most of it came from self, and that's where it started. But other things had to come here and help us learn from those manifestations too, to make us a better version of self. And that's where it talk about, that's why I talk about a lot, learning from struggle, and a lot of the books talk about learning from struggle. And even when you talk to look at monks, and you look at a lot of people that takes the religious high approach on, like, wealth is not pastors and shit, but the people that say that they gotta take a journey of poverty or a journey of struggle, is because that's what creates righteousness. And we are already, like I said, our spirit already chose this, because our spirit knows it has to go through these things. And you can look at it as karma, but like I said, karma lessons, it's all just different perspective that's been given to us in the past. And these monks are trying to create these things for them. They might have to go through these things on their own, but they're trying to create what they already seen prophesized and shit. So they want to take a vow to go into poverty and shit like that. Nigga, I ain't have to vow for shit. Nigga, I am here. Like, nigga, I was born into this poverty, no bullshit. Now my spirit is born into way more shit. My spirit is everything. My spirit, like, honestly, I'm not even born into poverty, because I'm born into this world of, nourishment and shit like that. But the system that we were born in, that system is straight poverty. The system is straight broken. So it got broke people in it. And yeah, whatever. I already talked about we don't use nature. So next thing I want to talk about, same shit, but I said the darkness, and some people use light, and it's all about balance, like I talk about. But the fact that some people think they only got to use Christ, that's my whole, you always over positive people. And some people, like I said, only operate out of darkness, and they might be these murderers, or these people that kill people, or people that oppress people and things like this. But it's like, you're learning all these lessons for the future, so you could be the best version of self. So you won't ever be oppressed. So you know that you ain't oppressed, like, so you wouldn't oppress nobody. So you'll know how to fight for yourself. So you know not to be docile. Like, it's always a balance, like, because it's not always a call for war. It's not always a call for being peaceful. It's about balance and having that, that balanced eye or whatever like that. And that's what our spirit is ultimately trying to create, that balanced being, where it's pretty much we weigh nothing in a sense. Marriage to the self. Alright. I want to talk about some other characteristics, like, two half-hearted people can make a righteous person. I'm just being funny. A street smart person and a book smart person can make a master of the society. Not necessarily gonna always do that, but it's the possibilities. A person that was in prison, or a person that never worked and battled with the judicial system, and another person that a single parent might make a rebellious person. Like, it's different things in different carnations. I talk about that already in that being your bubble, but I had already wrote these examples down. But 8 minutes, got a little time. Yeah, I talk about the light and darkness. Oh, let's talk about this. And I'm gonna use a tree, and I talked about this in my "We Are the Tree of Life" video. It's a little old, but it's in there somewhere. I talk about it like, some family members had to operate out of pure darkness, and some parents had to operate out of pure light to create us this balanced child. And if you look at it, for a tree to nourish, some of it has to operate purely out of darkness, and some of it has to operate purely out of light. Like the trees, the leaves and shit need straight light. That's how it absorbs. That's how it gets its nutrients. It photosynthesizes light. The roots only photosynthesize the shit that's in the soil, the dirt, pretty much the universe of the underground. Honestly, and it pretty much is always in the darkness, but it still thrives. It still needs to thrive. It needs both of it to thrive, and the balance of it would be the bark that transmute, all of it. Honestly. And it has light and darkness. But yeah, that's a little deep, but it really ain't. But that's what we are. That's what our family are, and that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create the most balanced beings, and And I was talking about the attractions and how I wanted to talk about how special we are, but that's something that we should just, starting to say with confidence to ourselves. Like, you shouldn't need somebody else to tell us that no more, because you gotta think about it, bro. Like, it's so many different scenarios that led to being you. Like I said, like, your parents could have, like, your father could have been in war, your grandparents could have went to war, your grandparents could have got drafted, but they had sex right before he got drafted, or they had sex, like, he ultimately survived that crazy ass shit and they had sex right after. Like, whatever it happened, it's like, bro, there's a reason that, like, cause one of my grandparents died, like, literally, like, a couple months when he died in war type shit, and he had the kids to our family, like, right before he left. And it's like, shit, what if he didn't have what if he didn't have sex with his wife before then? Like, what if he didn't make those manifestations? It's a good chance I wouldn't have been here. And it's just so many different scenarios that just to go to talk about how special we are. And movies will talk about how the Big Bang led up to this and shit like this, but they ultimately trying to tell you don't matter in a sense. And because they trying to tell you, it's just a bunch of random shit and you're just a part of that random shit. But what I'm trying to tell you is you're part of a filtering system. Like, you literally have been, it's hard to even say filtering, because you're literally expanding while you're filtering out the bullshit, in a sense. Like, you're learning the lessons, you're throwing away the shit you don't need, and you just, bro, you're really just becoming the greatest version of yourself. And through time, that's how it happens. And it's not like the Big Bang. The Big Bang says that we ran away from creation because it was a snap. And you could say that happened, but our whole journey is to get back to that snap, in the sense of, it's so hard to explain from, like, I can see it but I can't say it. So, but, like, we're literally trying to get back to that shift. Everybody talk about that shift. We're trying to create another Big Bang, in a sense. Like, we're trying to recreate, in a sense, like, because everything's really a cycle. And to say that the Big Bang started everything is to, like, say the cycle started here, and then, like, and that's why I go, and then they start talking about randomness, and they, like, it breaks up a lot of the shit that don't make, it makes so much sense when you say it's a cycle. And we came from a shift, trying to start a new shift, and that's literally what we've been doing, in the sense of elevating. But I need to get to my second video, so I'm up out this thing. Peace.